funny when we come across, and often people don't even realize they've got this certain patterning or these limiting beliefs in their minds, or the things that are holding back. And often you can tell what these are from conversation, the things that they're saying to themselves or saying to others, or oh, I don't know enough of this, or I'm not really good at that, and things like that. How do people get over that, or how do people squash these limiting beliefs, or clear these blockages and patterns in their
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
themselves?
firstly, so there's a number of ways that you do it. So firstly, you want to, so fear is a limiting belief. So seek, what is a limiting belief? So it's a fear of whatever it might be, fear of being criticized by other people. Where does that come from? Where is the that limiting belief come from? Did it come from your parents, from an experience when you were young? Perhaps you had a failure out of something. I've had a few failed businesses in my time. Perhaps some peers. Perhaps you saw something on the news. There's a whole variety of reasons or places where that limiting belief could have come from. Recognize that it's BS. In the middle of the word belief is a three-letter word, LIE, which is lie. It's all made up. It's all made up. In fact, let's talk about something right now in the world where someone has spruiking something and everyone else is believing. When you say something enough times, it must be true. Can you think of what I'm referring to? The USA. In America, when you say something enough times, then it must be true. Right now, I'm not here to get all political and all that sort of stuff. So please hold back all your political ranting, because I'm not interested. But my point is that there's an example of someone who's constantly said something enough times, it must be true. And certainly a lot of people are believing it. So it's about recognizing that a belief is made up, and you make up true beliefs and you make up limiting beliefs as well. We make them both up. It's then about working our way through that and recognizing that what's the empowering belief. So if I have a fear of being criticized by other people, or a fear of speaking to a real estate agent or whatever it might be, what about the opposite of that, which is I love it. I love it. I love the opposite of fear is I love. I love doing that thing. I love speaking to agents. A fear of being criticized by other people. I love getting the feedback. I welcome the feedback. It helps me grow bigger, stronger, better, etc. So it's about the frame of reference and the meaning or the perspective that we apply to this stuff. The other is to start small with something. So instead of trying to boil the ocean, let's just do one thing. Let's just start small. For those who know, I no longer eat meat. I no longer drink alcohol. I lost a fair bit of weight a few years ago. And on all three occasions, they're pretty big occasions for me. And even my property development journey, I started by doing one thing. And one thing led to a second thing, and a second thing led to a third thing, and a third. I didn't try and sit here and say, well, in the next 3 years, I'm going to do this stuff. I had a goal for myself, but I then just started by doing one day at a time, 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 just broke it down into small bite-sized chunks. And it's amazing when you do that, then you look back at a month has gone past or a year has gone past, and you're absolutely astonished as to the progress you've made, right? So the other is to then find evidence of success. So what I mean by that is evidence of success is, and I'll give you an example. There's a client of mine who he was a swimmer, and he was very good at swimming, and he was really struggling in the property space. And so it was about recognizing that what were the things that he went through when he was swimming? Like swimming is to me, I'm not a swimmer, right? So, but I just look at those men and women or boys and girls doing that. And I think to myself, my gosh, that mental focus to be up and down the black line at, 5 a.m. in the morning, whatever, it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot. So the fact is that there's an enormous amount of capability to do that. And so then it's about going, well, what was I thinking at that point in time? And what were some of the patterns, you talked about patterns before, that I was using back then? And why was I driven to achieve my swimming goal? And can I then apply some of that same thinking to my property goal? Because it's not a capability thing, because I've done it before. It's about now bringing it over and applying it to my property goal. The other thing with beliefs is, I touched on it before about priming your mind, right? So priming your mind is going through your goals each and every day, right? Visualizing your goals, seeing your goals. It doesn't have to be a 12-month goal. It could be you visualize yourself this week doing a particular something, right? But you visualize your goal. You're saying enormous things to yourself, positive affirmations, right? And I have a saying, which is be careful what you say to yourself because your mind's listening. And I say
Mhm.
it that way because a lot of us say negative things, whereas you sit there and you prime your mind, you talk about it and you say, I have all the skills and capabilities I need to be a successful property developer. I have an abundance of time. You start to say these affirmations to yourself. And I know some of the comments coming through was around, how do I go and juggle all these sorts of things? Time, right? But we all have the same amount of time, and I'll guarantee you that when you think about time, a lot of us are wasting it unnecessarily on just stuff, right? Whereas when you start to prime yourself, now I've got enough time and I've got the skills and capabilities and the world is conspiring for my success. People want me to succeed. You start to say these things to yourself each and every day, and you start to fundamentally shift your beliefs. Now, none of this happens in one day. And this is where the issue is. People go, well, I did that once or twice, Tony. Well, that's, if only it was that easy, right? And so another saying, plenty of sayings tonight, is easy come, easy go. So easy come, easy go is that if it comes easy, it goes easy. You don't value it, you don't care for it, it means nothing to you. Whereas when you work for something and you toil away at something and you have consistent and persistent effort at something, then it means something to you. Right. So again, priming your mind, changing your beliefs, it's not going to happen in a heartbeat. You've got to stick at it and stick at it and stick at it. When you stick at it long enough, then you can fundamentally change the person that you are.
Absolutely. And so let's wrap up with achieving goals, right? I know we've got a few comments here as well. Moss has said, what about when you hit bottlenecks in your plan? How do we stay positive and concentrated, but not let the bottleneck take over everything?
So you become what you think about. So when you think about a bottleneck, and a different word for that is problem. So when I think about the problem, then by definition, I'm looking backwards, right? So something's happened, the problem, and I'm looking back, right? I can't change things if I look back. Look, I have taught myself over many years, I can't change I can't change what I said 2 minutes ago. It's gone. That moment's gone. Thankfully, we've got it on Facebook, and maybe not, but it's gone. So when you fixate on a problem, then that's what you're going to bring into the world. What about when you fixate on the solution? The solution is in front of you. You haven't found the solution yet. You're searching for the solution. So I'm always wanting to look in a forwards direction, Moss. So it's about focus on the solution. And the other is to recognize that you're going to have tough days. There's this thing called life, and it doesn't always go the way that you want it to go. And so it is what it is. And as I said, I had a really challenging last year, and there were some things that happened last year that I would argue were out of my control. Certainly what wasn't out of my control was how I responded to those moments. But some things happen, some really bad things happen to people that are genuinely out of people's control. COVID-19 coming into this country and is out of our control. Right now, how we respond to COVID-19 is within our control. And whether we socially distance or not is within our control. Whether we wear a mask and take this stuff seriously, that's within our control. But the disease coming into our country was beyond our control. And so it's about recognizing that what is in my control. Some things are out, but the response is always within my control. So bad stuff's going to happen, but how do I choose to respond to it? I can choose to get down and upset and feel beaten and go, bloody hell, this property, it's never, ever, ever, ever going to happen for me. Or I can go, you know what, that sucks. Like, don't BS yourself. I mean, let's be real about this, but what can I do about it? And what's the next thing that I can do that's in front of me to start to right that wrong? What can I do moving forward? Because that thing's happened. And I can sit here until the cows come home and dwell on it. But all I'm going to do is get myself into this downward spiral, never get out of it. Or I'll turn and go, that's dreadful, but how do I move forward? And it's always about constantly looking in a forward direction. So hopefully that was helpful for you.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that as well. It's
Please.
also having the mindset of constantly looking for solutions. If you're in solution finding mode all the time, then things aren't necessarily a problem. It's just going, it's just looking for the right solution to
What's the solution?
make
Well,
it work.
that's I know that several years ago when you and I did a run of these, when we first started this several years ago, Cheryl, and we did these week after week, I know that one of the sessions we did was about the line of choice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it or not, but the line of choice is about the choice to be above or below the line. So below the line is about being a victim, right? It's about blame, judgment, hatred, fear, thinking of problems. It's about being a victim, right? The world owes me something. It does. Versus being above the line, and above the line is about being a victor. And it's about having love. It's about having acceptance. It's about being responsible for what's going on, right? It's about joy and happiness, right? That's above the line. Now, that's a choice, right? Because for a lot of us, we actually don't get to choose how we respond. And the reason we don't get to choose is because it's in our subconscious. And because we've done this our whole life, or maybe for the last 5 years or 10 years, and a particular anchor happens, something happens, and we react in a particular way, and we just do it on autopilot. And the example that I use in my presentations is that, imagine driving down the road and someone cuts you off. What do? And some people will flip the bird, they'll honk horns, they'll, put the fist up, they'll swear, they'll get angry, they'll get red-faced or whatever it might be. And it's recognizing that happens based on autopilot. Like your subconscious has gone, at that moment, we need to react in this way. And the opportunity is to break that pattern. And how you break the pattern is through self-awareness. And so self-awareness is, I'm aware of how I'm acting at a certain time. Now, self-awareness isn't the cure-all, because you can be aware of something and then choose not to do anything about it. It's like, yeah, I'm aware that I act like an ass when someone cuts me off. And I'm quite happy doing that. So awareness isn't the cure-all, but it's the start. And now that I'm aware that I'm acting in a particular way, and I challenge myself to say, well, am I going to be above the line or below the line? And do I want to get above? Think about solutions, like you said. The other word is resourcefulness. What can I do? Where is the solution? Who can I talk to? Where can I turn to? Who's done this before? Where can I research this? Right. So that's about resourcefulness and constantly looking in a forward direction at where's the solution.
Excellent. And so then how do we celebrate the achievements that we've made? With all the hard work, all the setting, the planning, and the planning part obviously is the most significant part, because you're actually executing and taking steps. How do we go about celebrating our achievements?
Yeah. So firstly, I would argue that so you said planning's most significant. I would argue they're all most significant. And so that is that you've got getting clear up front. That's really important. Creating a really rock solid plan. That's important. And then rubber hitting the road. That's really important. But in regards to rewarding yourself, don't do what most people do and reward yourself at the end. Don't do that, right? You can do that, but I want you to reward yourself 101 times in the middle, right? And so by that, because now what's happening is I'm creating positive reinforcement. I'm doing it. See, as humans, we love doing a task and we love getting something for it. And I'm seeing this in real life. I've got a new puppy, does something, gets a little treat, right? And so it's no different for us as humans. We love doing the same stuff. So don't wait until the very end, because as you know, there's a gazillion and one steps along the way, whether it be finding the deal or finding the money or whatever it might be. Reward yourself at those juncture points. You may reward yourself on a daily basis, even better. So it might be, today, I'm going to do these 5 things. And at the end of the day, my reward is I'm going to have a beer, or I'm going to go to my local coffee shop, or I'm going to, watch Netflix for half an hour, or whatever it might be. Now, you may ordinarily do that, right? You might ordinarily have a beer or wine at the end of the day, whatever. Yeah. But this is about recognizing, this is about mind hacks, right? This is about recognizing that when I've done that task or tasks, and I'm sitting there and I've cracked the top off a beer, that I'm having this beer because I did those 5 things. But the kicker is that if I don't do the 5 tasks, I don't get the beer. Now, that's called discipline. Right. And so that's where it's about creating this reward system where I will have the reward only once and only I've done the tasks that I've set myself, and having the discipline that if I haven't done the tasks, I don't get the reward. And you can link other people into that to provide even more meaning. And what I mean by that is you might want to say to your partner, to your husband, to your wife, hey, listen, this week I'm going to do these things. And on Saturday, once I've done them, I'm going to take you out. Yeah. Well, good luck if you haven't done the things that you said you would, by saying to your partner, that meal that I promised you, I didn't do those things. And this coach bloke came onto Facebook. But it's about discipline. It's about saying, you know what, I'm going to commit to doing those things because I am genuinely going to have that particular reward for myself. So it's about creating the framework of reward but also the discipline of saying, well, if I don't get it, then I don't get the reward. And what most people tend to do is they tend to take the reward first. So the example is, I'm at Netflix and the latest, TV series. I don't watch the TV. So I do watch some movies, but I don't watch TV. So, the latest TV series has come out and I've just binged it for 5 hours. And then it's like, oh, you know what? I probably should do that property thing. Nah, you know what? No, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens, and so and then tomorrow comes and it's like, oh yeah, but I know I watched 5 episodes yesterday, but there's actually 10 in the series and I've got to watch the other 5. Oh, that property thing, it can wait. What about if you reverse that? And again, this is discipline. What about if you said, you know what, I'm going to do the things I need to. I'm going to grind out some research, call some agents, do some project planning, call some contractors, whatever it might be. I'm going to do that. When I've done that, then I'm going to watch one of those episodes that it's really great reward. And here's the thing: when you have the reward, because you've done the work, sit back guilt-free and enjoy it. Like, I don't have anything wrong with people, watching TV and Foxtel and drinking beer. Great, have fun with it all. But here's the thing: when you are watching TV and you should be somewhere else, are you fully in the moment? Are you fully present? And the answer is no. It's like you're watching the show going, oh, Lord, how much more has this got to go? I really should be doing it, right? As opposed to when you do the task,
Enjoy
and then enjoy the moment and be with your family or your friends or wherever it might be.
Absolutely. All righty, let's start to sort of wrap this all up, Tony. What are the key takeaways from this session for people who are starting to think about, all right, I've got to sit down a while. You don't have to. You want to sit down and be really clear about your goals and really taking strong, precise action towards them. What are the 3 key takeaways in the shortest amount of time you can?
That's a goal for me, is it? So I saw some of the posts today about my old buddy Luke saying who would talk more. So anyway.
Taking a swipe at you. Yeah,
having a swipe. So 3 things. So let's just break it into 3 key areas. So the first is setting a goal. So setting a goal, get clear, specificity, the SMART goal setting methodology, right? Apply that, get clear on that goal and run it through that lens. The next is about planning. Planning, so goal setting, then goal planning. Planning is all around getting as detailed as you can, as granular as you can, break those plans down so it becomes very easy to know exactly what my steps are, and I start marking them off and start ticking them. So that's the second one. The third one is about goal achievement. And goal achievement is a biggie, but it's about start small, build momentum, have some rewards, as I said. Recognize that you should be doing this because you love it. When you do this because you love it, then it doesn't feel like work. So that's it's all about the goal achievement side. Change those beliefs. We talked at length about all of those. So there's so many things to go with achievement, but really, if you summarize it into goal setting, goal planning, and goal achievement.
Awesome. Too easy. Anyone wants an accountability partner or an accountability coach?
Actually, I've written a book. So I've written another book, Cheryl. So I'm going to put the link into the show notes. My new book. It's called How to Set Goals to Exponentially Grow Your Property Business. It's a ripper. So it's a brand new book.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Fresh book. So we're going to release that book right here, right now. I'm going to put the link into the show notes and everyone can dive in, get the book. It's about 13 pages length, and it's a ripping book, and it goes through all the things that I talked about.
Love it, love it. I'm very excited because I haven't seen it, Tony. And
there you go.
The grand.
I'll sign you a copy, Cheryl.
Thank you. Virtual coffee. Copy. That's what I meant. Thank you, Tony. It's been fantastic having you, and everyone from Property Development Australia. Always an absolute pleasure to have you here at the Business of Property, Tony.
Thank you.
All the best to everyone as well. I know that a few of you have shared your goals for the year. And if you need accountability partners, feel free to reach out as well, because I do think they are very, very helpful. But, there's always Tony as well, because he is the action man. If you want stuff to get done, if you want to really achieve stuff and you can have a chat to his clients, he's the man to talk to.
Thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate it, and appreciate everyone for sticking around. And as I said, I'll put the notes, the book link into the notes. So I encourage you to dive in there and read it. And it summarises all the things I talked about. So thank you.
Awesome.
Take
Good
care.
night,
And
everyone. Take
good
care.
night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. See ya.